welcome to all of you to this session on philosophy and distance learning. As you all know, we have started philosophy program in the Indira Gandhi National Open University since July 2009. We started with a BA program in philosophy. The BA philosophy courses are electives in its form, which any student in the BDP program, that is bachelor degree program, can choose any of the courses while pursuing the bachelor degree program. In order to get a BA in philosophy, one has to choose philosophy as a major with 48 credits out of the 96 credits. We shall be discussing about the basics of philosophy in the context of distance learning. To my left, I have an expert, Dr. Johnson Puthampurakkal, who has about 25 years of teaching experience in philosophy. He has a PhD in philosophy and his expertise is on Western philosophy. Right now, he is teaching philosophy in Eluru in Andhra Pradesh. To his left, we have Dr. George Pandamakal, who has 2 PhDs in philosophy. He has several books to his credits on philosophy. More than 2 decades of teaching experience. He was very much associated with Indira Gandhi National Open University as a senior consultant when we were planning, designing and developing the BA philosophy program. Professor George was with us for 1 full year. And to my right, we have Professor M.R. Nandan. He is from the Government College for Women in Mandya in Karnataka. Professor Nandan has got more than 38 years of teaching experience and he is an expert in logic. Now, to begin with, I would request Dr. Johnson to kindly explain to the viewers in simple terms what is philosophy and the importance of philosophy in a university curriculum.
Thank you, Professor Thomas. It is a very good question to start with because the philosophy traditional definition, love of wisdom. But today we have come more than the traditional definition of philosophy. It is born of human's curiosity to know on everything. But it is not, that knowledge is not limited to the in its empiricality, but in its transcendental level. Let me explain. It is not merely, we are not just to know what something is, but the meaning of something is. The meaning of life, meaning of freedom, meaning of immortality, meaning of the world, and so on. So philosophy goes as a more fundamental question than other empirical sciences. In this context, I would put it, philosophy as something that enables, philosophy as something that empowers, and philosophy as something that enlightens, enables a person to know. Philosophy enables. It is not, so I am able to know because I am enabled to know. So it is the philosophy that enables us to know. And philosophy also empowers. There is some Chinese proverb that don't just give a fish, but rather teach the people to fish. And that is empowering. If I am given a fish, I am able to feed myself today with that fish. But if I am empowered to a fish, then I am able to feed myself not only today but also other days. So philosophy in that way is empowering, also enlightens to see. From the Eastern point of view, philosophy is not taken as a merely love of wisdom, but rather as a seeing, darshana. I think in the West too, today philosophy is considered more as a seeing. So the light enables us to see what is to be seen, see the reality, see the meaning of the reality, and thus philosophy is a fundamental science. Let me also just refer to the distinction between philosophy and philosophizing. Oftentimes they are taken as synonyms, but there is a difference. Philosophy is nominal in its structure, but philosophizing is verbal, and not merely a grammatical difference. Philosophy is something static, the product of thought, product of thinking, but philosophizing is the process of thinking. And in today's understanding of philosophy, philosophizing is a better term to employ, because we do not consider philosophy as something that we have a thought that is carried out, but rather a constant process, a constant search, that especially in the context of postmodern thought, I think philosophizing is more appropriate because it takes into consideration time and space. We philosophize, and we are not come to a last solution to the questions, but rather we keep on searching in time and space, and therefore philosophizing remains a finite process, and that makes philosophy something humble at the same time dynamic.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Here in IGNOU, we are offering a philosophy program through distance learning. And perhaps IGNOU is the first university to have come out with well-prepared material on philosophy, on various aspects, on various courses. And since Dr. George was very much associated with the program development process, I would request Professor George to briefly tell us about the importance of philosophy in the context of distance learning.
Thank you, Professor Ignatius. Indira Gandhi National Open University stands very much for distance learning. Now, distance learning is so important in the world today, wherein many people or a number of people cannot go to the schools and colleges themselves. Even this university makes it possible for them to sit at home, sit in one's own room and study. And that possibility is very, very rare. Now, philosophy and distance learning, when we ask the question, how can philosophy also be understood through distance learning? Is it not something too difficult for the students? Yes, it is possible for them. In fact, philosophy has greater chance as a distance learning mode for following it. Why it has more prospects? Because philosophy does not require a laboratory like other experimental sciences. Then the statistics are much less. Therefore, visiting a classroom or a university or college is not so much needed for philosophy. Even the people with the basic knowledge can just remain in one's own place and still learn, and therefore it is possible. But then there is also another possibility is, as humans everywhere think alike. Therefore, even if we frame, or even if we make not sufficient for everybody, or we think that they have to be given the units prepared, and then they can also remain at their own places and learn and give the examination too. This kind of possibility is very much. But it has also certain problems, The problem is philosophy is generally understood as an abstract subject, a speculative subject. And as there are also many terms that are hard for the ordinary students to follow. And that is a problem in distance learning. But I also have certain, I can suggest certain ways and means to overcome such difficulties. First of all those who write the units, chapters, they have to use simple language, keeping in mind that all these students are, most students are at a distance or elsewhere they remain and they study. And for that they could also use a number of illustrations and examples. And these through illustrations and examples, the ideas can be understood by ordinary students. And that is using more and more illustrations, more and more examples, rather than giving a dissertation type or dissertation like module or units. Because students who are not also simplifying the language, avoiding ambiguous languages, because philosophers are very often, some thinkers use ambiguous language, ambiguities are there, or the terms taken from their own cultural context, and therefore would not be understood by others who are in other countries, who are elsewhere. And that is therefore it has both prospects and problems, I see.
Yeah, I think that was a good explanation about how we need to take seriously about study of philosophy, particularly through distance learning. And now, Professor Nanthan, you are very much associated with us in our course preparation team as well as an expert for designing the curriculum. Can you explain to our audience about the how philosophy helps us in our day-to-day life?
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Philosophy helps us in our daily life in the sense that philosophy is a way of life. In Indian context, we know that philosophy is a way of life. Learning philosophy is one thing. Applying philosophy to life is something different. Taking things as they come is the best example for the application of philosophy to life. In this respect, I think the best example I should take is from sports. How do we take the result of sports? Whether we win or lose, we accept. That's how we should take life. And this is possible only when we apply philosophy to life. And I think it is in that sense that philosophy helps us to lead a better quality, not just length. It is a quality of life which matters. It is possible to lead a better quality of life when philosophy is applied to life. That's what I think.
Well, now let us come back to some important concepts and areas of philosophy, and one is philosophy and wisdom. Perhaps Dr. Johnson could explain to us about the concept of philosophy and wisdom.
Okay, when I spoke about philosophy, I said Aristotle gives the definition of philosophy as love of wisdom. But wisdom is related to philosophy in a more radical manner, much more